Matthew Fox has a book, the theologian, not the actor, the theologian and the priest, has a book called One River, Many Wells. And it starts with a quote by Meister Eckhart. The book opens, "God is a great underground river that no one can dam up or stop the flow." That's the river of oneness that's available to each and every one of us. That's the river that flows through us, as us, and in us. The only little caveat there is that we hold the control. We decide how much of that flow of life is going to come through us as us. We are all on, and Sharon, thank you for that Passover story, because we're all on the path of experience. We learn from the experience. No, hopefully we learn from the experiences in our life, because that's why we have them. They're here for us to grow and recognize, because we are all actually on the same path. We are on the path of oneness. And when I saw that title today, Reverend Sage, it was so perfect, because oneness is where we're all going. It doesn't matter your faith, your beliefs, your understanding. It doesn't matter any of it. We're all on that path. So we grow and accept who we really are, the individualized energy of God. That's who we are. That's why we're here. You know, Joseph Campbell, who's traveled the world and studied so many cultures and done so much, says the privilege of a lifetime is being who you really are. Who you really are. Not some person that you think you should be, but the person you're meant to be. You know, if we're trying to follow someone else's path because we want to be like them, well, we can have mentors and teachers and get the qualities of people we like, but we're unique individuals. And it's up to us to do that discovery and learn who we are so we can all end up together in this oneness of God. Now, sometimes you think, oh, am I going to melt into this one energy and lose myself? No! When we get there, we're so free. We are perfect individualized expressions of that shining light, that star that we talked about. You know, that's that one journey for all of us. All these hundreds of paths in the one journey. Again, my buddy Rumi says, there are hundreds of religious books, yet they are all one chapter. There are 100 different holy places, yet only one altar. All roads lead to the one house. And that's what the mystics, wow, they're speaking to me. That's cool. The mystics get this. The mystics all know it's all one. We're all in this together. We may have different ways of getting there, different things that resonate with us, but it's that one road that's taking us all that same place, into that place of unity and oneness. And when we talk about this world that works for all of us, it's about understanding we're all unique individuals. We don't have to think the same. We don't have to agree the same. We don't have to do any of that, but just to be open to all the different expressions of the one. How beautiful it is. Now, when we can't be really happy, whole, or we can't really bless other people unless we know who we are. Now, we get weighted down by the density of our human thoughts, and that's what you were talking about, Sharon. The density of the fear, the frustration, the blame, the anxiety. It's so heavy. But we have to remember, yes, half of us is right here on this earth, but half of us is way beyond. We have half in the spiritual essence. We may call heaven. We may call it life, whatever you want, that eternal life, whatever you want to call that. Half of us is there and half here. And the only question we need to ask at any moment is, how do I unite my little self with my big self? How do I bring those two together? And one of the things we teach and we do is we teach how to use this great power of our mind, our thinking, because there is no real separation here at all between our physical being and our spiritual being, except our thoughts of separation. Separation exists in the human mind, but not in the mind of God, of spirit. We are one. You know, in this beautiful book. Well, I'll tell you about him in a minute. This is Thomas Merton, and he's a contemporary mystic. He was from the 19th century. He, I think, was born in 1915 and passed in 1968. And he is a contemporary mystic that is an amazing man. And he says exactly what Ernest Holmes professes so much in his books, is that life is a circle ever spiraling upward. And I want to read you a passage from his book, A Way to God. He says, Merton spoke of life as a circle. And this is a passage from his book. I like the title of this book, Conjectures of a Guilty Bystander. This is the whole meaning and the heart of all existence. In all of the affairs of life, all the needs of the world and people, all point to this one great return to source, return to the one. The return is the end beyond all end and the beginning of beginnings. To return to the Father is not to go back in time, to roll up the scroll of history or reverse anything. It is a going forward, a going beyond. For merely to retrace one step would be a vanity on top of vanity, a renewal of the same absurdity in reverse. Doing the same old thing, expecting different results. What does that mean? Wasn't it? Yeah, it was Einstein that said that. Our destiny is to go beyond everything, to leave everything, to find in the end our beginning. It's never too late. It's never too late to make your life better right now. We just have to get an understanding of the power of our thoughts and our thinking and our feelings, that we are creative beings every minute. In this book, Meister Eckhart, there's a quote from Meister Eckhart, says, "What does God do all day long?" She's lying on a maternity table giving birth over and over again. Ever creative, ever becoming. And that's our role. That's what we get to do. We get to co-create with this amazing spirit that's part of us. We're part of it. But it's bigger than we are. It's all powerful. It's all knowing. And it's there for us to create and become. And to do that, we need to keep going and going and going, spiraling upward. But I have very good news for you. Very good news to you. It's never too late to build a new life because of the homing instinct. We see in animals this homing instinct. And I'll read you the quote. It's the inherent ability of an animal to find their way back home, even traveling long distance over unfamiliar territory. You know, when we watch the salmon, and their effort and their tenacity in going back to the place they were born. They go up waterfalls, over rapids. They have bears clawing at them, trying to eat them. They're going against the current, and it's this innate instinct that they are to go home. And they have that, and it propels them. It's their motivation. It's that urge to move forward in life. Now, they're not the only ones. Many aquatic animals do this, besides birds, frogs, dolphins, turtles, whales. I'm sure you could. Cats. There's stories of cats traveling thousands of miles. They don't know the territory they're going on to get back to their original home. Now, if we think of that tenacity it takes to do that, we have that same divine urge in us. The same urge that keeps us keeping on, that keeps us understanding this path of experience doesn't give us everything we want. It gives us the opportunities to grow, to know better, to become. Joseph Campbell also said, "Where you stumble, there lies your treasure." And I had a little example of that this week. It was very cute. I didn't stumble, but we had our daughter and our little granddaughter, who's not quite 2 yet. They came over for a few days, and Naya, in her little happiness, she tripped over my foot, and she fell splat. Well, I'd just like to preface this by saying she's on a very
a very restricted diet for her stomach issues. So that's all she's known in her life. So she went splat. Oh. So I picked her up. I said, oh, baby dew, I'm so sorry that you fell on my foot. I'm so sorry you stumbled. I didn't say that. But so you stumbled. What would make you feel better? And she said, applesauce, muffin, beans and rice, cracker. She listed all of her favorite things. Now, we didn't have to feed them to her. We didn't have to give them to her. She just thought about them. And she got a smile on her face and went right back to playing. And I thought, what a lesson. What a lesson for me. We just have to remember what we love. We just have to remember what makes us feel good. And we can get through those tough times. That's that homing instinct in us that gives us the courage to change, that opening song, which is so powerful. Courage to do what needs to be done so we can keep getting better and better and better. And that's in us right now. It's not some of us, all of us. And some of us cover it up pretty well, and we try to keep going around in the same old circle instead of spiraling upward. My favorite, before I loved Rumi so much, I loved T.S. Eliot. And he said, we shall not cease from exploration ever. We just won't cease from exploring. And at the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we very first started and see it for the first time. That's the gift of life. That's the gift of God. That's the gift of our spiritual essence, is we can see newness in everything. Merton goes on to say that we have to keep a joyful attitude towards life. He said he kept constantly renewing himself, learning and unlearning, so he could hold childlike wonder. Because when we look at life through the eyes of wonder, we can make sense of things in a better way. We have, there's something more. There's always something more. Jean Houston said this, and I love this from her teaching. She said, is it of any wonder that so many of the great geniuses and innovators in the world are those who have kept their childlike wonder alive in them? Wonder has a buoyant, exhilarating crest of the wave effect, where we can, at the same time, feel an expectancy of a fulfillment in us, and also the anticipation of more to come. We're good. We are really good right now. You are great. You are amazing. But we're getting better all the time. If we keep that sense of wonder, the sense of love, love will keep us focused. It was Mary Oliver who wrote, and she had a different question than the one I said you about, how can myself unite with myself? She said, the only question you need to ask is, how can I love the world more? How can I see the beauty and the joy in this world and love it more? So I want us to leave today with that sense in us that our life is on purpose, that we matter here, that we're traveling this road together, as I said in the beginning, and have gifts and talents to share, and that we're learning from our experiences. And what Lao Tzu said is the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. We don't have to do it all at once. Sometimes we need to put our hand up for someone to help us, and sometimes we're the one to help. I'd like to ask our ministers and practitioners to come here with a wall of spirit. As we just tune into our own hearts and minds, and just in this moment, just close your eyes for a moment and ask, what is it in me right now in this moment that I need to know? That I need to know so I can let go of or embrace an aspect of myself right now, so I can shine more brightly, be my unique and original self, that I can lean into life and feel good about it, that I can have the courage to do what needs to be done, the grace to do it with ease and peace, and knowing that life is good, that God's got my back, that the universe is inherently good. What do I need to let go of or embrace? Join me as our beautiful practitioners and ministers just complete their prayers, and we just feel this room filled with the anticipation of newness, with the joy of life becoming and opening like a beautiful flower is opening to the sun. I know for each and every one of us here that we are opening to the beauty that is around us, in us, right here and right now. And in this step, in this knowing, as God said to Moses, take the sandals off your feet, you are standing on holy ground. And right here and right now, for each and every one of us, I know we feel the holiness of this moment. We feel the guidance of God, not only to appreciate what is, but to take the next step in moving on. That we are here on purpose, for a reason, to express our gifts, to share our talents, to be the ones we've been waiting for. So in that knowing and understanding, we release this moment, this prayer, this understanding to the infinite mind of goodness, of God, of love and light. We see it done, and we close it by saying together, and so it